Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is our privilege to welcome you all to the second edition of Healthcare Heroes Awards 2022 by Onlymyhealth.com, the health vertical of Jagran New Media. Jagran New Media is the digital wing of Jagran Prakashan Limited, India's leading media conglomerate with pan-India presence and wide reader base. Jagran New Media is impacting 104.6 million users and counting. Source, ComScore, multi-platform, November month. I am Smriti Rastogi, your host for the mega honors celebrating COVID heroes. We appreciate you all taking out your valuable time and being part of this award ceremony. Due to the ongoing pandemic situation, we are meeting for these awards virtually this year. For our viewers, if you are watching us live, you can join the conversation with the hashtag Healthcare Heroes. Well, the second edition of the Healthcare Heroes Awards honors the champions who are relentlessly working towards making India strong again. Individuals and organizations whose selfless service, initiatives, altruistic spirit, and a never say die commitment help save lives during the unprecedented pandemic. We salute these heroes who took on the challenge to help the community in areas of mental health, nutrition, healthcare, awareness, and more. In this virtual event, we endeavor to celebrate and showcase the hard work and service of many silent but resilient Corona warriors. Tonight, we are honoring these heroes for their exemplary services. Onlymyhealth editorial team has identified these nominees who have been placed in 9 categories. It is indeed our pleasure to host you this evening on this occasion. And now, without any further delay, I would request my team to kindly play the awards intro film.
Caught in the midst of a pandemic, surrounded with disease, distress, and death. Ordinary individuals showing extraordinary valor and grit came forward to rebuild communities and the country. These are India's healthcare heroes, ferrying oxygen cylinders and COVID patients to hospitals, feeding the hungry, ensuring mental stability, heroes breaking taboos and glass ceilings to make a difference in their communities, using technology to spread awareness, tackle vaccine hesitancy, or even starting a crusade for change. These heroes changed the fate of the country by their sheer will. India stands stronger with them, and Jagran New Media salutes India's heroes. INMA Awards recognized Onlymyhealth's Healthcare Hero Awards initiative. In its second edition, scanned the lengths and breadth of the country to find deserving nominees in 9 categories. Each of their stories deserves to be heard and celebrated, and is being hosted on our website, onlymyhealth.com. From ASHA workers putting duty before life, to heroes setting world records in plasma donations, from those who opened their hearts for COVID orphans, to those who became icons for mask etiquette. But that's not all. We also bring you some real heroes who proved to be real superheroes during the pandemic, setting an example for the world on how to make a difference to humanity. The selection of winners is through a transparent process, a knowledge council, a highly qualified jury comprising of the best in healthcare, doctors, policymakers and holistic health experts vote for their selected nominee. This, along with audience votes, will decide the winner in each category. Tonight we bring you these heroes and their inspirational stories. These rebuild our faith even in testing times. Give hope that as long as we have heroes like these, India will always rise again, rebuild again, and stand strong again. Join us as we celebrate India's Healthcare Heroes 2022.
Well, with that context setting, ladies and gentlemen, I would welcome a leader like no other, Mr. Bharat Gupta, CEO, Jagran New Media. He has to his credit more than 2 decades of rich experience in managing and turning around several media businesses across print, radio, ground activation, and internet. Under his able leadership, Jagran New Media is the fastest growing news and information company in the Indian digital landscape. In addition to his role as CEO, Bharat is also serving as director to the INMA South Asia Board, which is International News and Media Association. He is a governing council member at IAMAI, Internet and Mobile Association of India, and is the founding member of Digital News Publishers Association. In 2021, Great Place to Work recognized him as one of India's best leaders in times of crisis. He played an instrumental role in the launch of India's first Hindi fact-check website, Vishwas.news, which has since expanded into 12 languages. In recognition of his achievements in the industry, he was awarded Youth Achievers Award at the 6th Global Marketing and Social Media Awards in 2014. We are indeed obliged with your presence on the occasion and for being a part of the Healthcare Heroes Award 2022. I request you to kindly give the welcome address and officially set the tone for the evening.
Good evening, everyone. Trust all of you are doing safe and sound. Thank you for joining us tonight as we celebrate heroes, not necessarily those wearing caps and not all of them in the arc lights, but heroes who are making India strong again. The last 2 years have been riddled with pain, trauma, loss, and uncertainty. An invisible virus has brought the world to its knees. It has been a reminder for focus to be on our healthcare resources and reality check of our own preparedness and immunities. How we respond to a crisis is really what defines us, isn't it? Do we get into a blame game? Do we turn pessimistic and lose hope? Or do we stand out in the crowd and become change makers ourselves? The silver lining, if at all, in all of this was that the crisis reinstated our faith in humanity as unknown faces stepped in to help in any way they could. As a citizen of the country, it swells my heart with pride to see this stellar lineup of heroes. These unassuming champions, men and women, and even children, were paving the way for a bright future, a strong future, and a healthy future for all of us. As a leader of a media network, I believe it to be my responsibility to bring you these stories, to celebrate their work, because bad news may sell copies and drive traffic, but it is the positive news that builds our faith in humanity. And we at Jagran New Media see that outweigh any profits. We have seen the dream of Naya Bharat, a Bharat that is resilient, resurgent, and poised to take on any challenge. And these warriors that we will all meet today reassure us that we are on that path. I take this opportunity to commend the Onlymyhealth team for their hard work in bringing these gems from across the country. I also extend my heartfelt gratitude to the eminent jury members who have supported and guided us in this initiative. Thank you so much. What more can an initiative like this ask for when we have the support of Minister of Health and Family Welfare? Thank you, Mansukh Bhai Mandavya ji, for your presence tonight. Last but not the least, my gratitude for the heroes. Each one of you who has been nominated tonight is a winner in India's eyes. Whether you win or not, we are winning this battle against COVID. Thank you to you. With all that, let's begin the second edition of Onlymyhealth's Healthcare Heroes Award. And if you are watching us tonight, thank you so much.
Well, that was indeed an exemplary start to the season 2 of the Healthcare Awards 2022 by Dr. New Media. Thank you so much, Mr. Bharat Gupta. And taking this program ahead, I would now like to introduce Associate Vice President and Business Head of the Health and Lifestyle Verticals at Jagran New Media, Ms. Megha Mamken. It is under her able guidance, that Onlymyhealth.com conceived the Healthcare Heroes Initiative. With a career spanning close to 18 years in broadcast and digital media, Megha has received several industry awards for her leadership and editorial skills. Onlymyhealth.com and herzindagi.com. Jagran New Media's prime products have been carefully steered, strategized, and managed by her. It is indeed my pleasure to invite Ms. Megha Mamken to deliver the opening statement for the awards.
Thank you, Smriti, and good evening to all of you. Let me start by thanking the Health Minister for lending his support for Only My Health initiative to honor India's real heroes. Also, a big thank you to Mr. Bharat Gupta for his unwavering support to Only My Health's vision. Onlymyhealth.com is one of India's leading health websites, and we take a lot of pride in giving out credible and trustworthy information to our millions of readers every single day. With a commitment to put focus only on your health, we also collaborate with an array of doctors and mental health experts and nutritionists, cosmetologists, alternate therapy experts to get our readers fact-checked, verified information that helps them better their health and the health of their families. Healthcare Heroes Awards now is our initiative to bring stories of hope, courage, determination, and stories that make a difference to the community. The first edition of these awards that we started at the wake of the pandemic in 2020 drew a lot of appreciation and support from both the medical community as well as in the media industry. The International News Media Association, that's INMA, recognized Only My Health's Healthcare Heroes initiative in its Global Media Awards. And now, as we move to the second edition of Only My Health's Healthcare Heroes initiative, we are again humbled by the response, the support, and the stories of immense grit and commitment to be the change. Our team has scanned these nominations from across the country. Our editors have very painstakingly vetted and fact-checked each nominee, each claim. And these have been then placed under 9 categories. The jury panel has helped us, they have guided us, and their decision, along with public votes, have helped us arrive at winners in each category. Let me take this opportunity to thank our jury panel, the best in the field. Your support and your guidance has meant a lot to this campaign. You have helped ensure that the winners have been decided without any pressure or prejudice. But let me say this one thing to all of our nominees. Your work, your resilient spirit, it gives us hope, a hope for a better tomorrow, a hope that all the scars will heal. We will once again rise, and we know that the road towards rebuilding the communities, rebuilding the country is going to be paved by your hard work. Win or not tonight, you are heroes in the eyes of the nation, and we salute your will. Thank you from the heart. And with that, I'd invite Smriti to take the program ahead.
Thanks a lot, Ms. Megha Mamgan, for your inspiring words. And now we move ahead. I would like to thank our presenting sponsor, Cofsils, for making this evening possible and helping us celebrate the stories of excellence in health sector. Let us now take a look at the audio visual on Cofsils. Can we have the clip, please?
All sequences go. Control room to general rocket. Ready to lift off?
Ready? Mission abort.
ये खराश वायरस हो सकती है।
Oh my God! आम खराश की गोली नहीं, इसको ऑफिस की जरूरत है यार। ये सिर्फ आराम नहीं देता, गले में वायरस और बैक्टीरिया को भी मारता है। Cofsils.
We appreciate you for making this evening so special. Thank you so much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce our jury, which has played a pivotal role in determining and acknowledging the most inspiring stories and recognizing the deserving individuals for their outstanding contributions in the field of healthcare. Let us get to know our jury members a bit better. I would request my team to kindly play the clip for the same.
Onlymyhealth's Healthcare Hero Awards 2022 is proud to introduce you to its esteemed jury panel. Dr. Chandrakant Laharia, a vaccines, public policy and health systems expert. Dr. Laharia has worked extensively on India's COVID-19 pandemic preparedness and response, including COVID-19 vaccine rollout in India. For close to 13 years, Dr. Laharia worked with the WHO in their immunization programs in India. Dr. Chandrakant Laharia has contributed to drafting and developing many of India's vaccine and health policies. Dr. Laharia is the youngest fellow ever elected to Indian Public Health Association and has received Indian Council of Medical Researchers Dr. B.C. Srivastava Foundation Award. In 2020-21, he was listed as top 2% of global researchers in the field of pediatrics and public health in a Stanford University-led research. Dr. Nimesh Desai, one of the best names in the field of psychiatry in the country. Dr. Nimesh Desai is the former director of Institute of Human Behavior and Allied Sciences in Delhi. Dr. Desai has been the head of the psychiatric department at National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences on NIMHANS, Bangalore, and has also served at Delhi Top Medical Institute, AIIMS, for a decade. He is known for his outstanding work in treating and addressing mental illness, breaking taboos and social stigma around it. Dr. Jaideep Malhotra, ex-president of Federation of Obstetric and Gynecological Society of India. Dr. Malhotra is a gynecologist and infertility specialist with over 35 years of experience. Working tirelessly to break the stigma around fertility issues in women, Dr. Malhotra has spent years fighting for equality and empowerment for women in healthcare systems. Grandmaster Akshar. Hailing from the Himalayas, Grandmaster Akshar is an internationally acclaimed spiritual yogic master and visionary. He is the founder, chairman and course director of Akshar Yoga, president of World Yoga Organization, and has trained more than 10 lakh practitioners globally through online and offline platforms. Dr. Vivek Nangia, an internationally renowned interventional pulmonologist with over 2 decades of rich clinical experience. Dr. Vivek Nangia is currently associated with Max Super Speciality Hospital as the Principal Director and Head of the Pulmonology Department. A pass out of the London School of Hygiene and Topical Medicine, where Dr. Nangia did his Masters in Infectious Diseases. He is aggressively involved in breaking the myths around COVID infection. Poonam Mutreja, a flag bearer for women's health, reproductive and sexual rights, and rural livelihoods for over 40 years. Poonam Mutreja is the Executive Director at Population Foundation of India. She has co-conceived the popular trans-media initiative, Main Kuch Bhi Kar Sakti Hoon. I, a woman, can achieve anything. Masters in Public Administration from Harvard University, Poonam has been instrumental in setting up and leading several NGOs, contributing to policy and advocacy. Ishanka Wahi is a Dubai and Delhi-based wellness advocate. She has received recognition in the field of health and wellness. Ishanka's mission to make nutrition delicious and exciting. She has created gut-strengthening, nutritious alternatives for all comfort food by eliminating unhealthy ingredients, and has also curated healthy menus for restaurants and wellness retreats both in Delhi and Dubai. Megha Mamgain is a senior journalist with a career spanning close to 20 years in broadcast and digital media. She has reported extensively on health and gender, an associate vice president and business head of health and lifestyle at Jagran New Media. Megha has ensured high journalistic standards and credibility to the products she leads. Megha has received several industry awards for her leadership and editorial skills. This highly qualified and credible jury has studied each nominee, brainstormed and deliberated over a jury meet, and selected the top contenders for Healthcare Heroes, and their votes, combined with public votes, will help choose the winners of the second edition of the Healthcare Hero Awards by Onlymyhealth.
That was greatly inspiring. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our jurors for joining us in celebrating our health heroes. And now, finally, the time for which all of us were waiting so patiently for has arrived, the awards ceremony. Let us begin with the first category of nominations in the segment Oxygen Warriors. A devastating second wave of coronavirus in India saw overwhelmed and widespread shortages of oxygen and medicine. Then hospitals across India experienced oxygen shortages, with some forced to put up signs warning a lack of supplies. Our oxygen warriors made all efforts to ensure that the oxygen supply reaches people. Let us take a look at the nominations in this category.
Presenting the nominations in the category for Oxygen Warriors, Shah Nawaz Sheikh. It was a personal loss during COVID that got 32 years old Shah Nawaz Sheikh helping those in need of medical oxygen. Till date, he has touched 8,000 lives and responded to up to 500 distress calls a day during the second wave of the pandemic. Shah Nawaz even sold his SUV and used his savings of 30 lakhs to provide oxygen. Till date, he has raised 80 lakh rupees and continues to support people with free oxygen. Hemkund Foundation, one of the biggest resources of free oxygen to individuals and hospitals. Hemkund Foundation, a Gurugram-based organization, worked round the clock to distribute oxygen cylinders. They not only delivered in 21 cities, but to the needy ones as well, by establishing 25 micro-oxygen centers. Apart from providing oxygen, Hemkund Foundation also provided free RT-PCR testing, free ambulance and medicines. Pranav Gupta, a 26-year-old entrepreneur from Ahmedabad, reached out to the remote villages of Gujarat with oxygen concentrators. Pranav, along with a team of 5, gave access to critical medical facilities and provided medical kits to over 3,000 families across 10 districts in the state. Pranav worked for more than 12 hours on a daily basis and also set up community kitchens to provide close to 500 meals a day to COVID-19 hospital staff and patients. Gaurav Rai, famously known as Oxygen Man in Patna, Gaurav Rai took an oath to set up an oxygen bank in his city. After surviving the critical stage of COVID-19 himself, Gaurav Rai spent his personal savings to provide oxygen cylinders to 2,000 people at their homes. His selfless service has also been recognized by doctors treating COVID patients. And the winner is Oxygen Man Shahnawaz Sheikh.
Congratulations, Oxygen Man Shahnawaz Sheikh. I request you to kindly join us live and accept the award.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We would request you to kindly say a few words while accepting the award.
सबसे पहले मैं जागरण मीडिया का शुक्रिया अदा करूंगा कि उन्होंने इस अवार्ड के लिए मुझे नॉमिनेट किया। मेरे काम को देखते हुए मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि मतलब इस काम के जरिए मैं इस प्लेटफॉर्म तक पहुंच पाऊंगा। तो आप सभी का दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं और मेरी कोशिश रहेगी हमेशा कि मैं आगे और काम कर सकूं और जो कोरोना अभी हम लोग इस कोरोना से लड़ रहे हैं, इस जंग को हम लोग जल्द से जल्द जीतेंगे इंशाल्लाह। बस यही दुआ और आप लोगों से भी मतलब ये गुजारिश करता हूँ कि आप लोग भी दुआ करिए मेरे लिए, जितना मैं आगे चल के और काम कर सकूं, हमारे देश के लोगों की मदद कर सकूं। मैंने जब काम शुरू किया तभी मैंने सोचा नहीं था कि ये लेवल तक काम जाएगा। एक छोटी सी जगह से शुरुआत कर रहा था, लेकिन इस काम को मैं देश तक ले गया और मैंने अपने देश को मतलब पूरे देशवासियों को एक फैमिली समझा मेरी। और मैंने यही सोचा, एक दर्द, उनका जो दर्द था वो अपने अंदर लिया कि मेरी फैमिली में अगर कोई तकलीफ हो जाती तो मैं उनके लिए भी लड़ता। तो मैंने अपने देश के लोगों को अपनी फैमिली समझा और उन लोगों की मदद करने की कोशिश किया, जो मुझे आज आप लोगों तक मतलब यहाँ तक इस प्लेटफॉर्म मुझे मिला है आज। सो थैंक यू सो मच।
शहनवाज जी, ये बिल्कुल मैं ये बात कहना चाहूंगी कि आप जैसे जो टॉर्च बेयरर्स रहे हैं सोसाइटी के, जिन्होंने इतनी एफर्ट्स करी हैं उस काल में जबकि सबके लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो रहा था, तो वाकई में हमें आप लोगों पर बहुत गर्व है। और आज मुझे लगता है कि हम सबको बहुत गर्व महसूस हो रहा होगा कि आपको ये अवार्ड मिला। Thank you so much and congratulations once again for your relentless efforts. And now moving on to the next award category, Portion Warriors. Among the other basic needs, lack of food was one of the challenges which affected the lives of many people. And it was then that these champions played a very pivotal role. I request my team to kindly play the audio visual for the nominations.
Presenting the nominations in the category of Portion Warriors. Feeding from Far. An initiative for food distribution started by a hotel management graduate, Paritosh Pant, became a community-driven blessing for the hungry during the pandemic. From establishing kitchens for various sub-locations in Mumbai to ensuring hygiene and COVID protocols were maintained, Feeding from Far program helped build a sense of service in the community. Till date, Paritosh and Feeding from Far have fed over 25 lakh meals and received shout-outs from various organizations and celebrities. Harsh and Hina Mandavia, this mother-son duo, raised over 20 lakh rupees to feed the hungry during the pandemic. It all started when a customer of Hina Mandavia's food business gave a contribution to feed 100 people. That one act of kindness kindled a spirit of service, and soon Harsh and Hina got requests and donations from hundreds of people to prepare food and distribute it to those who needed to be fed. Till date, Harsh and Hina have distributed 28,000 meals. Harsh Mandavia goes with the belief that no help is small and has stood by the cause of feeding the hungry during the hard times of the COVID pandemic. Chinu Quatra, a 31-year-old social activist, Chinu Quatra from Thane, Maharashtra, fed over 8 lakh laborers and their families who got stuck away from homes in the pandemic. Chinu's initiative Roti Ghar started as a small act of service once a year on his birthday, but soon became a movement feeding 1,800 children across Mumbai, Delhi, Bengaluru and Odisha. Serious about his mission, Chinu also trained under FSSAI to prepare quality food for the needy. Today, Chinu serves one meal a day to over 1,000 kids every single day through the donations that come to Roti Ghar. Akshay Kothawale, an auto rickshaw driver with limited means. Akshay Kothawale put his wedding on hold and spent the money he had saved for it to feed the hungry. Akshay started a community kitchen and distributed food packets to the migrant workers forced out of their jobs. Akshay got his family to chip in cooking and packaging close to 500 food packets a day, which continued for 5 months non-stop. Apart from food, Akshay also helped pregnant women and elderly people commute to the hospital free of cost during the pandemic. A good deed always comes around. Akshay got married a year ago and is now father to a month-old baby girl. And the winner is Akshay Kothawale.
वेल कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस अक्षय। मैं आपसे गुजारिश करूंगी कि आप ये अवार्ड रिसीव करें और 2 शब्द कहें।
मैं बहुत बड़ा शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ। मैं एक सर्वसामान्य एक रिक्शा ऑटो ड्राइवर हूँ। मुझे ये दैनिक जागरण हेल्थ केयर अवार्ड के लिए एक उपलब्धि दी और कोरोना जो ऐसा पेंडेमिक था, तो देश के प्रति कुछ ना कुछ करना चाहिए था। इसके लिए किसी ने आगे आके जिम्मेदारी लेने की थी। वो जिम्मेदारी मैंने कोशिश की और सबके मुझे आशीर्वाद मिलते थे और लोगों की सिचुएशन बहुत ही डेंजरस थी। तो देश के प्रति किसी न किसी आगे आके सेवा करनी बहुत जरूरी थी और यही टाइम था कि सेवा करना। तो जो भूखे लोग हैं, जो फुटपाथ पे रहते हैं, जो माइग्रेंट्स है, जो दूसरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स और दूसरे राज्य से, दूसरे स्टेट से आए हुए थे, तो डायरेक्टली ये लॉकडाउन घोषित हो गया, देश में अनाउंस किया लॉकडाउन का। तो मेस बंद थी, होटल्स बंद थे और जब कमाएंगे तब खाएंगे, ऐसे लोगों के ऊपर बहुत ही बड़ी समस्या आ गई थी। तो मैंने तय किया कि यही देश की सेवा है और सब यही अपने देश के बांधव है। तो मैं मेरे हैसियत से अन्नदान करता रहा और मैं मेरे हैसियत से छोटी सी सेवा उनके प्रति शुरू की। और सेकंड वेव में ऑक्सीजन सेवा और कंटिन्यूअसली अन्नदान सेवा, जो माइग्रेंट्स है, जो फुटपाथ पे रहते हैं, ऐसे लोगों के लिए शुरुआत की। और यही अपने देश के बांधव है, तो ये अपना कर्तव्य है। और मैं एक ऑटो ड्राइवर हूँ, मुझे इतने बड़े प्लेटफॉर्म पे संधि दी। मैं तो दैनिक जागरण का बहुत ही बड़ा आभार व्यक्त कर रहा हूँ। और हेल्थ केयर अवार्ड के लिए मुझे नॉमिनी मिला, तो बहुत बड़ा मैं शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि एक सर्वसामान्य घर का एक ऑटो ड्राइवर, उन्होंने जो छोटा वर्क किया, तो वर्क किया, इसके लिए जो नॉमिनी मिला, तो बहुत बड़ा मैं सब टीम का मैं शुक्रिया अदा गुजार करता हूँ।
अक्षय, आपने अपनी जिम्मेदारी समझी, न केवल एक समाज के प्रति बल्कि देश के प्रति, और जिस तरह से आपने आगे बढ़ करके पूरी कम्युनिटी की एक बागडोर संभाली, एक जिम्मेदारी संभालते हुए अपना जो एक दायित्व था वो पूरा किया। हम बेहद सराहना करते हैं आपके इस विश्वास की, इस जो आपने डेयरिंग एक टास्क किया और उसको बखूबी निभाया। दे आपको फिर से बहुत 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 आपका आभार और आपका अभिनंदन।
आपका भी बहुत बड़ा आभार, मुझे ये संधि दी, मुझे एक प्लेटफॉर्म दिया। मैं भी ये कभी भूल नहीं सकता हूँ। और मैं फिर से हेड्स ऑफ करता हूँ कि दैनिक जागरण का और ये अवार्ड सेरेमनी का और सब टीम का, जो इन्होंने इतने कष्ट लिए और ये अवार्ड सेरेमनी पूरा हो रहा है उनके कष्ट के कारण। मैं फिर से एक बार सैल्यूट करता हूँ सब टीम को और दैनिक जागरण।
आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अक्षय, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और कोविड पैंडेमिक talking about COVID pandemic, which has filled all of us with doubts, and even now with new variants coming up, there is so much uncertainty around. But lucky for us tonight, we have a panel that may be able to answer many of our nagging questions. May I please request Ms. Megha Mamgan to kindly helm the panel discussion with our esteemed jury members.
Thank you, Smriti. And this is a fantastic opportunity for us. We have the best minds in medicine, vaccine policy, and healthcare. And they're joining us here on the panel to talk about what the pandemic future looks like for India, what Omicron and the third wave is going to mean for us. And as the states are reaching different stages of unlockdown, how do we protect ourselves and our families? If you're watching us live tonight, we'd love for you to join the conversation on social media. Just use the hashtag Healthcare Awards. I am delighted to be joined by this incredible panel, and let me take a moment to introduce all of them to you. Dr. Chandrakant Leheria, he's a vaccines and public policy and health systems expert. He's an author, he's a TEDx speaker, and has previously worked with the WHO. Thank you so much, Dr. Leheria, for making it here and being a part of the panel.
Thank you very much. Namaskar, everyone.
Thank you so much. Dr. Nimesh Desai now, he's one of the best names in the country in the field of psychiatry. He's the ex-director of the Institute of Human Behavior and Allied Sciences. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Dr. Vivek Nangia, he's an internationally renowned pulmonologist, and he's currently working with the Max Hospital. And he's someone who is in and out of COVID wards on a daily basis as a part of his job. Thank you so much for taking out the time to be here, sir.
Thank you. Truly a pleasure to be here.
Dr. Jaideep Malhotra, she's the ex-president of the Federation of the Obstetrics and Gynecological Society of India and has been working on fertility health for more than 3 decades. Thank you, Dr. Malhotra, and welcome to the panel.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with all of you.
Ms. Poonam Mutreja, Executive Director of Population Foundation of India, has been working extensively on women's health and their reproductive and sexual rights for more than 40 years. Welcome to the panel, ma'am.
Honored to do that.
Grandmaster Akshar, he's an internationally acclaimed spiritual and yoga guru, has been working with people, especially during this time of the pandemic, to help build their spiritual and their emotional health. Welcome, Grandmaster Akshar.
Thank you.
Also joining us on the panel is Ishanka Vahi. She's a wellness advocate and a nutritionist who believes that eating healthy can be eating tasty. She's helped thousands of people get on the path to eat right and improve their health.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, all of you, for being here and for being a part of the jury. And we have so many questions to go through. So let's start immediately. I'm going to start with Dr. Leheria. Dr. Leheria, my first question, the biggest concern in India and perhaps across the world, the big O, Omicron, just the sheer number of mutations and the ability to escape surveillance, escape natural immunity, and the increased transmissibility. All of this put on one side versus the apparent less severe infection. How should we view the Omicron surge? And if it is supposed to be high peaked, but a narrow wave, what can we expect next?
Thank you very much, Ms. Megha. So Omicron is the 5th variant of concern of SARS-CoV-2, the virus which has caused this pandemic for last 2 years. In the last 2 months, since the Omicron was designated as variant of concern on 26 November 2021 by World Health Organization, we have learned a lot about this virus and also the type of epidemic wave it caused. So what we know that Omicron is 3 to 4 times more transmissible, but we also know that it can cause some immune escape, which essentially means people who are natural infection or were vaccinated can still develop infection. But good part are twofold. One, it caused a lot of infection on a shorter period of time. The infection or cases rise very quickly. Within 2 to 3 weeks, it peaks and then start declining, equally sharp, steep decline. So putting all of these things together, what we can hope that Omicron is likely to affect all parts of the country in India, but the wave or peak across the country would be in the phased manner. Essentially, what we have already seen that major cities have already behind the peak, and now we are seeing urban centers reporting more number of cases, and very likely that rural India would see the wave. But going by epidemiological data and modeling studies, we can hope, and some of the estimates say that a nationwide peak is already over, but we cannot rule that out because in the rural countryside, the cases are yet to be seen. Another thing to remember is that India has revised COVID-19 testing policy on 10th of January, which say that the asymptomatic in community setting, and also even the asymptomatic contacts of a confirmed case need not to be tested, which essentially mean that we should not be looking at the daily new COVID-19 cases in the country. Essentially, what if the country is reporting 300,000 daily COVID-19 cases, but the testing is very different than previous, so that can mean the number of cases are really high. And we know in this wave that number of people who are like, if one individual in family is affected, other members are affected. But there are few other positive signs. One of the study which was reported from South Africa said that people, if they are affected by Omicron variant, results develop a 14-fold higher antibodies, and then they are subsequently protected from Delta variant. To summarize, I would say that since India has witnessed a severe second wave, which had seen around 70% of population being affected, then country has vaccinated 95% of adult population receiving at least one shot and 75% both shots. And now Omicron surge is happening, which will result in improved antibodies. So we can really be optimistic that by end of March, country may be, the Omicron wave may be behind us, and we can prepare for a future which would be little better off. We might be ready for the healthy vaccinated individual, need not to be that much worried, but we need to continue to protect the vulnerable. We might have to vaccinate or give a booster shot to additional populations, but we really do not know. But what is the summary point, that it is a time after end March to prepare for NMSCT. It is also time that we prepare for opening schools. So it has been a challenging period behind us, but there is a light at the end of tunnel, and that light is of the future, which could be living with the COVID without much fear and staying safe.
That is really, really reassuring, Dr. Laharia, to have a stage where we reach endemicity. Let me bring in Dr. Nangia. That this fact that Omicron infections are less severe, although WHO did clarify that considering it mild may not be correct, relatively milder than Delta, but that also resulted in a lot of like a carelessness. In the public at least. So if it was less severe, did you see your COVID wards empty? Was there less pressure? Or the people who were admitted, I also want to understand, was there a commonality? Who were the people who needed admissions in the hospital or needed ventilator supports, even for Omicron infection?
Right, so that's a very valid question, Megha, and thank you for asking me that. So, WHO also said that it's all in relative terms, because we've seen the Delta wave. That is why we were finding this wave as being very mild and very non-severe. And that is the reason people were taking it very, very lightly. But the issue is that it isn't that people were not getting affected. People were not developing pneumonias. It isn't like that at all. There were people who were developing pneumonias, and these were those who fell into the vulnerable category, or the high-risk category, that is more than 60 years, those with comorbidities like diabetes, blood pressure, cardiac diseases, heart diseases, lung diseases, cancers. So they were the ones who were actually developing pneumonias and lining up in the ICUs as well, requiring oxygen support as well. But yes, when you compare it with the Delta variant, the Delta wave that we faced, the number was significantly lower. The severity of the illness also, when we compared with the Delta variant, was not very much. If I again speak that in the Delta variant, you would get a lot of patients with 20 plus score out of 25 on a CT scan. This time, I think the maximum score that we've seen is 15 or probably 16 out of 25 on a CT scan, not more than that.
Right. Yeah.
And oxygen requirement also has not been much, barring 1% or 2% of the patients where they did require oxygen support, ventilatory support. So from that point of view, I think this one was a much milder variant. And if it gives us a long-lasting immunity, I think then the trade-off is not bad at all.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Nangia, for that insight. Let me get in Dr. Malhotra now, Dr. Jaideep Malhotra. Not just about the third wave, Dr. Malhotra, but the last 2 years of the pandemic. How do you see that impact women's health? Do you see that impact them differently? And especially in regards to population, the pregnant women who got their rights to vaccination a little bit late. In fact, one of our nominees, you'll get to meet them, petitioned the High Court for pregnant women's right to the vaccine. Did you see them as a more vulnerable population?
Yes, of course, Megha. I think, especially the first 2 years have been really unbelievable, for women, especially women at home, women who are pregnant, not being able to reach out to the doctors, not being able to have access to good nutrition, and and the load of the disease in the house, and the mental and the physical health of the elders and the children. I think women really bore the brunt of the pandemic at the most. And as pregnant women would be concerned, I think it was unbelievable because, I run an app also called iMoms for Pregnancy, holistic care towards pregnancy. We were just loaded with all kinds of where to go. I am in pain. Doctors not accessible. There's bleeding happening, and these medicines are not available. What should I eat? What exercise I should do? So we started helping them out with an online program which has really become a hit now. And now vaccination, I mean, that was the next thing. Why should I be left? And we have to understand that pregnant women are carrying 2 lives, one their own and one child. So it is very, very difficult for anyone to make a decision immediately, especially when the data which we had regarding the pandemic itself, then of the vaccination, was too low and too short-lived.
Thank you, Dr. Malhotra. I'm going to come back to you for a follow-up question on that, but let me bring in Ms. Poonam Mithreja. Again, I want to stress upon the gender dynamics in COVID, Ms. Mithreja, that like Dr. Malhotra was saying, that a lot of, bearing the brunt of the pandemic and also work from home, because they worked from home for office, but also for home, and access to basic things like hygiene, menstrual hygiene products when everything was locked down, making their appointments to the doctors. How did you see, one half of this population really cope with the pandemic, especially for a country like India?
So, given the situation in India pre-pandemic, where a large percentage of women experienced violence, school dropout rates high for girls, early marriage, menstrual hygiene management, and so on. These were in many cases pandemics that we didn't recognize, and they got so exacerbated with the COVID situation that it has hit us. It's not only hit the women, but the country, if you look at the data and what happened to women. So domestic violence increased substantially. Women were locked in the houses with the perpetrators of violence, and they know where to go. Earlier, they could make an excuse, go to a mother's house, go to a friend's house, go to a neighbor's house, but now they were locked with their perpetrators. Second, you had children at home who watched, mothers being beaten, and then the burden of work. There is enough studies globally and in India this time round to show, when I say this time round, I mean in earlier pandemics, only 1% of the research focused on gender issues. So because the problem was so severe and women had to suffer so much, that the data began small studies globally and in India nationally, several NGOs did, women did not have access to abortion. 2 million women couldn't get abortion over that period of 1 year. The women didn't know where to go. There are women, heart-wrenching stories of women going to 8 hospitals in Delhi and not being able to deliver. And finally, the woman died. In many cases, the babies died. Women gave birth to babies on the streets as the immigrants walked home for miles together. So for women, it was the hardest, as it always is. Life is much harder for women than men.
Okay, let me come back to you, Ms. Mutreja, on that, and bring in Dr. Nimesh Desai. The mental health fallout of the pandemic, Dr. Desai, the stress on mental health, the uncertainty, fear, we lost so many people. What do you see as the impact of these last 2 years on our communities, the long-term impact of the stress that we've had on our mental health?
There's been a lot of talk about there being a psychiatric epidemic looming or a mental health epidemic.
Yeah.
What I want to say, based on a lot of data and cumulative collective experience, is that there is really no major reason for a psychiatric epidemic to be foreseen. Okay. It's not as if schizophrenia and major disorders are going to increase. For sure, what is true is psychological distress, psychological difficulties coupled with the social dimensions of well-being and a fair, just society, as my colleagues were saying. And so what we need to do is not look at the mental health needs of the society with a narrow psychiatry lens, but a broader mental health lens with well-being and social dimensions thrown in.
Thank you, Dr. Desai. Let me bring in Ishanka on that. Ishanka, with the start of the pandemic, there was this mad race towards that cup of kadha. Everybody wanted to have, the kadha to improve immunity. But
it's my go-to, kadha is my go-to also.
All right. What I want to understand from you, Ishanka, is this like an overnight? What do you think? Nutrition, eating right, is this like a quick fix? Something that will, like a magic potion that's going to completely transform your immunity, your life, your, like Dr. Desai said, also affects your mental well-being? Or is this a lifestyle change? Is this something that moving forward, as we talk about rebuilding communities and rebuilding the nation, is that something that has to be brought in as a part of, your lifestyle and your, everyday choices?
No, absolutely not. I do not think there's any magic pill that you can have and suddenly tomorrow you'll be fit and fine. It's a complete combination of your gut health, what you're eating, your fitness levels, your stress levels, how much you're even sleeping, how much sunlight you're getting. It's such a major combination that just if you get me in or one doctor in, no one can really help you. It's a complete upgrade of lifestyle. Yes, our immunity does lie in our gut health. 70% of our immunity is in our gut. So we can upgrade it. We can improve our gut health, which is where I come in, of course. But even when I come in with gut health, I try to upgrade the entire lifestyle of the person. If someone is sleeping 4 to 5 hours, how much ever I make them eat clean or whatever I do, it's not like their immunity will still be low. If they're not being well rested, if they're not practicing fitness, if they're not being active, I can give them all the good food in the world, but it won't work. It's a complete combination.
Let us also get in Grandmaster Akshar and, really talk about the strength that, spirituality, yoga at this time has given. Is it, Akshar, you've been practicing yoga for so many years. You've helped so many people. Is this feel good, or does it actually have tangible, recordable impacts to health and immunity?
So what we believe and practice, we believe in energy. We believe that everything is about energy. If we are talking here and if we are building the hope, and that's what I see our frontline warrior they did. They gave hope that whatever is happening, you be strong, and this time also will pass. New time, new energy will come. This gives let it be, what you feel that it's a psychological, it's a reality, it's practical. But I'm getting reason to think that there is something good for me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the way how Poonamji shared that what tragedy, what they are going through, women, and the way how the lifestyle changed for them, there is no hope if I don't think that good time is there. And that's what spirituality does. It brings you on that level where you start thinking good about you. If I don't have positivity in my mind, there is no way that I can proceed further now.
Okay.
Pandemic is pandemic, and that shows the limit of human. Whatever we are doing here, or whatever we'll do tomorrow, we don't know that how this virus came, what more can come. So yoga gives you that practical 1 hour, 2 hour of time where you are purely 100% engaged with your body. And we are not God. Nobody is God on this planet. Even God comes, they go. They also need to die. But that timing, that hour, 2 hour, I'm spending quality time with myself. And when you're practicing yoga, it's again, yoga is about formulas. Yoga is about science. When you involve yourself, you ask anyone who practices yoga, after 1 week, 2 weeks, they say that I'm feeling good. That means there is some movement. So we see the movement of breath, movement of blood, and how I can train my whole body for this movement. That's what the yoga science is. Spirituality brings power to human. We will not give up. Let a million times more powerful pandemic to come. Till I have my breath, I'll fight. And that's what Himalaya, they teach us. And that's what the message we shared with all our wonderful practitioners.
Yeah, that resilient spirit, that spirit of hope. I have, thank you so much, Akshar, beautifully put. I have a couple of, follow-up questions, and I'd request, brief answers. Let me start with Dr. Laharia. Dr. Laharia, there's a Boston study. Indeed, WHO has mentioned this, that as much as the virus spreads, the chances of it mutating into a more deadly kind of a variant increases. We are already seeing, like Dr. Malhotra was mentioning, the BA 1, 2, 3 sub-variant of Omicron. In light of this, I mean, we do hope that we'll see an end of no other wave after the third wave in India. But in light of the fact that Omicron is so much more transmissible, how do you see the efficacy of vaccines and a booster in light of a possible change in spike protein again?
Thank you. So the first point to remember is that Omicron or SARS-CoV-2 is a respiratory virus. It's an RNA virus. And respiratory virus, RNA viruses are known for the mutation and keep changing with the time. So that is not that much surprising. Of course, what was a little surprising that it become a little more transmissible. And there is a possibility in future also that there can be variant which have different characters, more transmissible, more immune escape. But that possibility is very limited. But good news is this, that when original virus came, everybody was susceptible. But now in the 2 years, people have developed natural infection, got vaccinated, and now Omicron infection. So people have some immunity. So even if a future variant, which has immune escape, which essentially means can pass on our immunity, it would not be like a zero benefit of the past infection or vaccination. So there might be some risk, increased risk, but the natural infection vaccination would continue to provide protection. That is a really assured part. The final point I would say that pandemic would be over, but the virus is going to stay with us. Now the level of transmission will be relatively low. What might happen that since the new variant might emerge, there is a theoretical possibility that it could be more transmissible, but that is a possibility. That is not that this would happen. And as and when, like, most likely scenario is that we would have a low level of transmission, but once in a while, maybe 1 year or 2 years, sometime in the future, there could be a variant which would be of concern. That time we need to again get ready and prepared for that eventuality. So scenario would be something like what happens in the people who live in the coastal area. If there is a cyclone or alert or another thing, people quickly get ready for that. Once cyclone is over, you return to the normal life. And I think that is going to be the scenario with SARS-CoV-2, that we will live a normal life for most part of the year, for many months to come, but once in a while we might see such situation and we can respond to it. We have enough learning. So as Grandmaster Akshay said, that in the life, we should be COVID negative, but life positive. So there are a few things in which we don't want to be positive, but in the life we want to be positive. Thank you.
Absolutely. Dr. Nagia, let me bring you in. If I may ask you, it might be an unfair question, but between a vaccine/booster, testing in the light of so many asymptomatic cases versus masking and COVID appropriate behavior, what do you think is going to trump? What is going to be the most essential part of living with COVID, as it were?
So the one-line answer to your question would be a combination of all of these things put together. You know, you can't just isolate and say vaccine is like your 100% mechanism to protect yourself. It can never happen. Vaccine also has its own limitations, and especially with the newer variants coming in, we don't even know whether the existing vaccines will be effective against them or not. So to protect ourselves from all of this, I think we'll have to continue following the COVID appropriate behavior and continue masking and continue with the vaccination. Maybe a time comes where we get a new vaccine every year, you know, a modified version of the previous vaccine according to the current prevailing strain, as we do for influenza. You know, even for influenza, you get a new vaccine every year. So probably we are heading towards that kind of a scenario.
Right, right. Thank you, Dr. Nagia. Dr. Jagdeep Malhotra, I have a question for you, and this is cropping from a lot of misinformation that came along with COVID, with vaccine. I mean, there was this scare that women are going to lose fertility if they take the vaccine, but also want to get an insight into what COVID did to the fertility rate in the country, in India.
See, Megha, I want to again say this, that yes, first thing is that it's that misinformation about COVID vaccine, you know, having its effects or toll on men and women both, fertility. Till date, I would say it is proven to be a myth. But I would really like to tell you that the studies which we are going on, the COVID infection, we have now a number of studies which have come up which say that yes, the sperm counts, the motility and other things with the infection are definitely getting affected. We also now have some fewer studies which have come up where women who had a severe infection of COVID have had, you know, their lives turning towards having premature ovarian insufficiency or failure. Now, this is something which, as I said, because this infection has just given us only 2 years to study. These are very early studies. We really don't know. But of course, we know that, yes, there have been some effects on the fertility because of the infection and not because of the vaccination.
Bringing in Ms. Poonam Mutreja, in a country like ours, is anyway always been a vaccine hesitancy. You know, there were news pieces of people hiding in their homes behind drums and underneath their beds because they just did not want to take, you know, vaccines. In India, it is voluntary to take a vaccine, but how do you see that impacting, you know, our fight against the pandemic?
So India is a land of myths, misconception, and misinformation, along with everything else we have. India has the biggest WhatsApp misinformation university than the world. And it is we as individuals have to blame and nobody. If we are being given misinformation, on simple things, we believe it. For instance, you know, you're talking about people having the fear that going under bed. There are villages where people ran and jumped into a river to escape the people who had come for vaccination. So given that example on the vaccination, I think my worst fears, and I'm sure the good doctors on the panel may agree with me, my worst fears was that there'll be many more people hesitating to take The vaccine then have taken, and then those who've taken, still the number is really large, that it is not difficult to deal with this hesitancy, unlike the West, where there are those ideological anti-vaccine fundamentalists.
Yeah.
We don't, fortunately for India, bless our soul, we don't have too many anti-vaccine fundamentalists. We have people what I call sitting on the fence with misinformation, who are also being misguided a bit.
But let me get in Dr. Desai right now. And Dr. Desai, I also want to get in perspective of, your perspective on the population that had already been diagnosed with mental illnesses. For instance, I do want to understand what happens when somebody who's been diagnosed already with schizophrenia, for instance, how does he go for testing? How does he take vaccination? What is the sort of impact in the already diagnosed people?
That's a very good question. Thank you so much, Megha. Like it was said earlier, a lot of non-COVID care in these last 2 years kind of took a backseat. And arguably so, for all the pluses and minuses, one of which was the mental health care and the continuity of mental health services for those who were already affected and were in service. Fortunately, except for very few brief periods initially in the first lockdown, the mental health services in all sectors have kind of picked up. And yet there are those negative effects that you are referring to. People with schizophrenia, severe mental disorders, and people who are on treatment had more recurrences and relapses. The one thing that I must flag here is the extremely marginalized homeless mentally ill that I work with a lot. And that condition actually has always been and is now really pathetic. There are programs here and there in different parts of the country. So as we talk about all marginalized groups, we really need to talk about the lower end of the marginalized groups, including the homeless mentally ill. But I do think, summing that part up, I do think that I genuinely believe at all levels that by 2040, if not sooner, but 2040 or 2050, human race might sit back and look at this epidemic as a blessing in disguise. Because there's a lot of positive spin-offs that can happen, that are already happening, and that's what we need to capitalize on. That is what will show the resilience of individuals and human race.
That's a good perspective to go with when we talk to our grandchildren and say that in 2020.
Exactly, and say,
Yeah. Let me bring in Grandmaster Akshar. The states like Delhi, we've just heard that they're talking about online yoga for people who are recovering. What would your tips be for people who are recovering at home, and especially those who are uninitiated, who have not practiced yoga? What would your tips be? How do you start? What are the sort of asanas to begin with, especially when we're talking about, scratchy throat and long COVID, etc. What can we start with?
So what happened, as Dr. Desai ji shared, that in this negative time, people, they evolved also. They became more intelligent, more aware, and that's what is happening with yoga. Teachers, they are evolved now. The practitioners, they are also going deep with their inquiries. For yoga, it's about engaging themselves for their quality time, becoming more mindful, more strong. So that's what I think we need to practice, or we need to transfer with our online trainings. Asanas like Vajrasana, which they really work on our blood circulation, they work on our stomach. So spending more time in Vajrasana, that'll be, the beginning, very easy asana. Then again, very basic and simple asana like a Dandasana, where back is strong, straight, legs are out, and it's like, you're just sitting down. Sitting in that posture for longer duration, it'll again create that alertness of yours, my awareness on my breath. And what we are observing again, when I'm aware, I know what I need to do. I'm doing mistake because I don't know what to do. Like if now when you're talking about someone who need to recover, now they know what the trouble is. Those who don't know what this, the problem is, they're very casual. But once they're getting hit, they are becoming extra cautious. So what I need to consume, what I need to eat, what I need to practice, they are becoming more powerful with this thought. The asanas like Vajrasana, Dandasana, standing straight, and a basic posture, Vrikshasana. This asana also brings that alertness, awareness. And these asanas are so simple that even if I have issues of blood pressure or any other issue with my heart, I can do simple, easy asanas. So this can be part of online training, online yoga training, and breathing technique.
Ishanka, I want to get you in, because so many people recovering at home now, and I have just recovered from Omicron, and I know that extreme fatigue, scratchy throat, the symptoms of long COVID. I sometimes sit and, I'm sitting to write a script and I have complete brain fog. I know medicines can't help me. What can I have? What can I eat? What can nutrition do for me to help? And so many others who are now dealing with recovering from Omicron and long COVID symptoms.
Definitely. As actually Mr. Akshar just said, that, we cannot ignore medicine, but medicine and wellness goes hand in hand. So one thing that I obviously definitely say, and apologize in advance, that take minimal medication, only when it's really required, especially things like antibiotics and all, because it kills your gut bacteria too. Second,
get in Dr. Nangia on that later.
I'm not going to defer on his points at all. I'm talking only with respect to wellness, and they go hand in hand. When it's required, it's required. Intervention is required. But there are lots of people who I know within my circle also who just pop pills for nothing, without even consulting a doctor. That I completely do not agree with. Second, I would, as a blanket rule, definitely one thing that I would tell everyone is remove refined sugar, processed foods, junk food, alcohol, and refined oils like sunflower oil and canola oil, which basically create free radicals in our body. Remove those. Eat your whole foods. Eat your healthy, anything which you buy and there's a tongue twister, the ingredients are like a tongue twister, do not buy it. Eat your whole food, simple ghar ka khana.
Thank you so much to all the jury members for your time and this insightful conversation. Before I let you go, I would really want to get your point of view. I mean, you've seen all our nominees, you've seen the different categories. What is this sort of lasting impression that you have of these COVID warriors? Dr. Nangia, I'll start with you.
So I think this is a very novel initiative that has been taken by you and your organization to be going into these kind of aspects. People usually look at only the frontline warriors and try and award them. But this is one, you've taken a very unique kind of categorization and unique kind of awards that are being extended to all these people whose otherwise the efforts would have gone unrecognized completely. And I think there's been a very good research that has been done by our team, looking into each and everyone's individual work, their profile, and the outcomes that have been, that have yielded from their efforts. So I would like to congratulate you and your team for doing an excellent work in this field.
Thank you so much. Ms. Mutreja, I would like to hear what you think. We've been saying that win or not, every nominee for us is a hero. What do you think?
I couldn't agree with you more. Every nominee that you had there, we as a jury found, I could see difficult to I won't use nobody got rejected, but not nominating each one of them for the award was a difficult and emotional almost task for us. And your due diligence and the work that you and your colleagues have done in bringing out some of the best in our society at a time when everybody was suffering is phenomenal. And I am, in fact, each of them, I can think of connecting to them for something or the other in terms of support, more support, encouragement. I think we should reach out. If you could give the list of people, as and when I know someone who can support them, and I would like to very much keep them in my head and in my heart.
Super. Since you said that, Master Amit, our youngest COVID warrior, he needs an admission in school. He's not getting an admission.
Where is he? Where is he?
He's in Dharamshala, and he's, you know,
if you can send me his contact, I will get that done for sure. It will be my job to get that done.
Amazing. How amazing.
I would like to, give my input. I just spoke to the educational minister, Himachal Pradesh, and I think Poonamji and me both, we can do this today only. If we need to do this, immediately we can do this.
This is fantastic. I mean, and this is the power of having people like you on panels like this, because then tangible changes can be made. Dr. Leheria, you know, we know importance of data, importance of science, but importance of positive stories like these.
Thank you very much. So the list of nominees for this award reflect the diligence which Jagran team has followed for selection of nominees. We had difficulties in selecting the best out of those nominations, but it also reflects a wider work which had been done during this pandemic by the common people across different parts of the country. So I really take this opportunity to congratulate each nominee and congratulate those who are finally going to be awarded with this one. But this is really humbling and inspiring for many of us, that how each one of us can step up a bit and contribute to a bigger challenge which all of us face as a society. So really, thank you very much. And I feel really honored to be part of this process.
Thank you so much, Dr. Leheria. Dr. Malhotra, I'd like to get you in. So many women, we've seen nominees, pregnant women out on the street, manning traffic. We've seen, A&M, ASHA workers going door to door. Really the power of women during the pandemic on display. What would you say about this whole process, the nominees, and the importance of awards like this?
And not to forget the two women who have organized this. So we need to really believe in women power. And I am a firm believer in this, because without women, no house, no family, no society, no nation can move forward. So it's high time that we acknowledge the power and support them, because I always feel that if they get a small backing, they can conquer the world and bring it to your feet. And that's something which is very important. So heartiest congratulations to each one of you who have organized and who have participated and been nominated in this wonderful, wonderful initiative. Because I definitely am of the opinion, start from wherever you can, use whatever you have, do whatever you can, and don't wait for the opportunities, create them, because God has given us a very creative mind. And there are many resources which are all around us. And these nominees have actually proved a single danda was required to ask, where is your mask? Yeah. You're understanding. So, I mean, that is the impact of each individual. So we should be really having faith and confidence and trust in our own abilities and capabilities. And that is what is going to take us forward. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here and the guidance that you have given us. Ishanka, over to you. What do you think of the nominees that you saw? And, what would you say to those who are standing a chance to win, some who may just lose by a whisker? But what would you say?
I think there is no one who loses here. To be nominated I would like to congratulate each one of them for being nominated. They have made massive changes in the world. And I always believe in the saying that be the change that you want to see in the world. And each one of them have proven that. And I'm very impressed with each and every nomination that we've seen today. And thank you so much for having me here to, be able to be a part of the panel. And great research on behalf of this initiative had great research. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ishanka. And last but not at all the least, Grandmaster Akshar, what did you think of, the spirit of resilience, the spirit of, making the change, like Ishanka was saying, being the change that you want to see, mobilizing people, just, being self-starters. What do you think of the nominees that, stand to win tonight?
So if you observe, each one of them, they were serving unconditionally. They were not aware what will happen, or how things will evolve. So unconditional services, they don't need any recognition. But, to motivate and inspire the world, I think, such a divine initiative by you, your team, Jagran team, it's so powerful. And I'm very sure the millions of people, they'll get impacted. And many, they are not aware that how to help, how to support, how to do something good. So these kind of programs, or these kind of initiative, they lit that fire. They are the seed which will give ideas to millions to become one society. What we believe, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, will become one family. And we can, with these kind of divine actions, we can evolve as human and achieve that life of health, peace, and happiness. So my good wishes for all these warriors. We are not choosing who is the best. It's because of the format that someone is doing special. But I think each one of them, they're unbelievable. They are beautiful spirits. My prayers for each one of them, and for your entire team.
Yes. And Grandmaster, actually, you're absolutely right. In fact, there were so many warriors that we reached out to, and we said, give us pictures, because, we want to be able to show it in an AV. None of them were working for documentation. None of them were working for photo ops. None of them were working for awards. But, I think platforms like this kind of reaffirm our faith in humanity, in our community. And this, we hope, tonight, everybody who's watching, who heard this, discussion with all of you, will leave a little bit transformed. We'll do our bit. We will wear that mask. We will practice social distancing, so that the work that all of these warriors are doing does not go in vain. Thank you so very much for speaking to us on this panel, for giving us your wisdom, your time, and guiding us into choosing the winners without any fear, without any prejudice, without any pressure.
Well, thank you so much, Jury and Ms. Megha Mamgen, for this very informative panel discussion. And now we come to our next category of awards, mental health warriors. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought many changes, uncertainty, altered daily routines, financial pressures, and social isolation. Stress, anxiety, fear, sadness, and loneliness were the common factors which impacted one and all. And it was the time when our warriors stepped in to combat these mental health issues. The winners have been chosen on the basis of public voting and the valued decision of our jury panelists. And now let us take a look at the nominations for the category Mental Health Warriors.
Presenting the nomination in the category for Mental Health Warriors. Talk to Heal. In response to the pandemic and rising stress on mental health, entrepreneurs Sonia Arora Sood and Priyanka Vadhera started Talk to Heal, a community committed to creating public awareness about mental health issues and help anyone struggling from it, ensuring a safe space for people to share their stories and train psychologists to listen, forms the backbone of Talk to Heal. The foundation has managed to connect with about 50,000 people who now form an integral part of the Talk to Heal family. The Minds Foundation, Minds Mental Illness and Neurological Disorders Foundation, is working to provide mental health relief during the pandemic by upscaling and expanding its operations. Their counseling center continues to provide more than 200 hours of psychotherapy per week, a 24/7 distress helpline service with trained professionals, while also creating multimedia content and virtual sessions to reach support groups across the country. Feeling Forwards, Hyderabad-based psychologist Kushal Roy counseled over 200 people during the COVID pandemic. He founded the initiative Feelings Forward when he realized that people are dying not just because of COVID, but because of a pandemic-created stress. The initiative provides free mental health support at grassroots level and was recognized by Bill and Hillary Clinton, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, and former German Chancellor Angela Merkel. During both the COVID waves, Kushal worked in slums and bastis to take mental health to their very doorstep. He now wants to help differently abled people dealing with mental illnesses. Snehi. In the wake of the mental health crisis resulting from the pandemic, Snehi, an organization for psychological support and mental health care, set up focused telephonic helpline cum crisis intervention support and counseling in March 2021 to assuage stress and help and support people in need to work towards their psychosocial well-being. From April 2020 to March 2021, Snehi was able to provide support to 6,339 people in distress who called up the telephonic helpline manned by trained volunteer counselors. Snehi counseled and saved 385 lives of people who were suicidal or had attempted suicide. And the winner is Feeling Forward's Kushal Roy.
I would request the winner to kindly join us live. Congratulations on that very big achievement, Kushal.
Thank you so much. Before I begin, I would like to thank all the nominees in every category tonight. This is an absolute pleasure and an honor to receive this prestigious award. I would like to thank Onlymyhealth, Jagran Media, and the esteemed jury for this. I would also like to thank Megha, Vani, and Chanchal and the entire team for organizing this. So the most important thing the pandemic has taught us is to prioritize our mental health. And saying that, it has also taught us to look after one another. So I would like to reiterate the fact that you always don't need to be an expert. Just saying or asking, are you okay, can be the start. So let the conversation begin. Thank you so much.
Well, that was a very well-deserving award there. And congratulations once again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the next category of awards, which is the Digital Healthcare Awards. Those who use technology, social media, not for entertainment, but for a greater good of the community. I would request my team to kindly play the nomination clip.
Presenting the nomination in the category for Digital Healthcare, Karuna app. 3 friends and batchmates from IIT Delhi, Milan Roy, Swapnil Sharma, and Pranit Ganvir, developed a user-friendly app to sieve through the hundreds of SOS messages and relay verified information during the second wave of COVID pandemic. The app, initially called COVID Relief and later named Karuna app, gained massive traction due to authentic information and easy usage. Within a week of the launch, their work was recognized by Google, which helped them with a volunteer force of 50. They were approached by PathCheck, a non-profit tech organization that provided them with funds and a big team to develop Karuna into a disaster management app. Because of the ease of finding authentic information as per requirement and geography, the app has gathered high praise from the Ministry of Education as well. But at the center of all the accolades, one mission has remained paramount for the developers, that of helping those in need. ePsy Clinic, providing free mental health care services to over 3 lakh people over the pandemic. ePsy Clinic became the digital destination for those facing mental health difficulties during the pandemic, but did not know where to seek help. Founded by Shipra Davar, who herself battled depression, ePsy Clinic offers free, non-judgmental and expert counseling and therapy sessions. With an aim to destigmatize mental health, this app started in 2015, evolved during COVID times and partnered with government and non-government organizations to take therapy to the masses. With a message of it's okay not to be okay, Shipra continues to cater for people having various mental health issues through the digital platform of ePsy Clinic. Arpita Chaudhary, a 20-year-old Delhi University student, Arpita Chaudhary took on the mighty task of creating a database of verified sources for hospital beds and medical supplies. The initiative, called Let's Fight COVID Together, launched in April last year, was sparked off with the tsunami of unverified information flooding WhatsApp and social media timelines in the dreaded second wave of COVID pandemic. That is when Arpita mobilized a few of her college mates to start verifying numbers and information of those requiring medical aid and those giving it. Details about hospital beds, medicines and oxygen cylinders were scanned and vetted from across all social media timelines and forwarded messages. Through calls and texts, the team painstakingly checked for fraudulent sources and fake suppliers, going into background checks like GST numbers as well. Within months, the initiative started seeing response not only from India, but also from abroad. People trusting Arpita's database for genuine information and leads. Since the third wave began, Let's Fight COVID Together team has come together once again and have started updating the database. Volunteers COVID Help. This volunteer initiative, consisting mainly of students, ran a 24/7 helpline for 69 days during the second wave, resolving 1,311 queries and helping people in distress find hospital beds, medicines, oxygen cylinders and ventilators. Arnav Praneeth, the founder of Volunteers.COVID Help, is a class 12 student. But age or inexperience did not come in the way of setting up an almost professional organization with more than a 200 volunteer task force, meticulously divided into admin, respondents, researchers, verifiers and social media and graphic design team. This group of novice but dedicated COVID warriors ensured round-the-clock operations to give verified information on phone helpline in different languages like Hindi, English and Tamil. And the winner is volunteers.covid.help.
Well, on behalf of Jagran New Media, I congratulate you for this achievement, barely out of school and already creating big impacts. Kindly accept the award, and I would request Arnav Praneeth to kindly speak on behalf of your team.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Arnav Praneeth, and I'm proud to accept this award on behalf of everyone at volunteers.covid. I would like to thank Jagran New Media for this recognition. This award belongs to everyone who came together to help each other during the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. We would like to dedicate this to all the volunteers who kept our helplines running, who listened to the ones in distress, those who took their time and kept a check on resources during these times, those who kept looking for leads throughout the night, and those who took the calls to manage this entire initiative. With me here are Ayan, Sudipto, Prakhar, Aditya, Devadhwani, Mudit, and Devaditya. These people, along with all our other admins and especially our volunteers, have shown great capacity for empathy, and I'm thankful to have been a part of this strong team and family. I'd also like to thank and congratulate all other winners and nominees alike here for their work during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you on behalf of the entire Volunteers.covid team.
Congratulations once again, Arnav, for your extraordinary help to the community all in all. And we are really proud of you that our younger generation is very well channelized. Thank you so much. Well, moving on to the next category, we are recognizing and celebrating the heroes who have played a very vital role in saving lives during the pandemic and proved themselves to be the lifesavers. Can we have the nominations, please?
Presenting the nomination in the category for Lifesavers, Ajay Munot, the highest plasma donor, named in the India Book of Records for donating plasma a whopping 14 times. The Pune man first donated plasma in 2020, a month after recovering from COVID, and then there was no stopping him. He went for plasma donations every fortnight. Even doctors have been surprised at the sheer number of times he has donated plasma. Ajay says he has not experienced any negative impact of plasma donation and hopes his feat encourages others to donate life-saving plasma. Citizens Action Group. An Urdu poet and content writer by profession, Ankit Gupta formed Citizens Action Group to collect information on hospital beds, plasma donors, oxygen cylinders, food deliveries and everything else that could provide relief. The group has more than 250 volunteers that work pan-India and provide all the necessary resources to COVID-19 patients and their kin. Triggered by the death of actor Sushant Singh Rajput due to suicide, Ankit also started a campaign to provide free-of-cost therapy sessions for those who needed them but could not afford them. Ambulance couple Himanshu and Twinkle Kalia. In the past 20 years, this husband-wife duo have ferried over 70,000 patients to hospitals free of cost in their ambulance. What started as a single ambulance initiative in 2002 has now grown to a fleet of 17 ambulances, of which 3 have been dedicated to COVID patients after the pandemic hit. Twinkle and Himanshu themselves drive 2 of these and have not let the fear of infection or Twinkle's cancer come in the way of their service to the community. Recognition has come by way of an award by President Ram Nath Kovind for Twinkle being the first woman ambulance driver and close to 2,000 more in these last 20 years. But money has been spent from their own pockets that they make as insurance agents when they are not driving ambulances. Matron Geminiben Joshi, a 71 years old matron. Geminiben Joshi from Dahod, Gujarat, returned to duty to serve in the COVID ward in response to the acute shortage of medical and nursing staff during the second wave of the pandemic. Lovingly called Ba, Dadi and Matron Madam, Geminiben devoted long hours doing back-breaking work in the uncomfortable PPE kits, showing empathy and care towards patients. Geminiben at her age did not fear once for her own health and comfort. Managing a staff of 304 nurses, Geminiben held fort during the most crucial times. And the winner is Matron Geminiben Joshi.
मेट्रन जेमिनी बेन जोशी जी, आपको इस अवार्ड के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई हो। हम आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे कि आप हमको बताइए कि इस अवार्ड को लेकर आपको कैसा लग रहा है।
हेलो, हाँ, इस अवार्ड लेके मेरे को बहुत आनंद हुआ और मेरे को ऐसा नहीं था, मेरे समझ में नहीं आता कि मैं इतने आगे बढ़ जाऊंगी। अगर आप सबकी दुआ और शुभेच्छा से मैं बहुत आगे बढ़ गई हूँ और मेरा नाम आगे आपने बता दिया, वो मेरे लिए बहुत काफी है। आपका धन्यवाद।
जब वो कोरोना का काल चल रहा था तो अक्सर जो लोग थे डरे हुए थे, सहमे हुए थे, सब अपने अपने घरों में बंद थे। आपने ये साहस किया कि आप बाहर निकल करके आई, आपने इतनी तादाद में लोगों की मदद करी। मैं कह रही हूँ कि आप एक टॉर्च बेयरर रही, आपने एक रास्ता दिखाया न केवल युवाओं को, बल्कि मैं सैल्यूट करना चाहूंगी आपके उस जज्बे को जिसके तहत आपने इतनी बड़ी एक जिम्मेदारी निभाई।
मेरी फर्ज थी, मैंने प्रण लिया था कि मैं मरते दम तक सबकी सेवा करूंगी। इसके लिए मैंने सबको समझा दिया कि भाई वो खराब नहीं है, अच्छा है रोग, सबको आराम हो जाएगा। समझा के सबको आनंद में लिया था उनको।
ऐसा कोई चैलेंज जो आपको लगा हो कि बहुत अब कठिन हो रही हैं परिस्थितियां?
परिस्थितियां क्या, ऊपरा ऊपरी बार बार एक्सपायर हो जाते थे तो सब घबरा के गिर गया। उनको गिरना मत, हिम्मत रखो, हिम्मत रखोगे तो भगवान आपको साथ देगा ही, सब अच्छा हो जाएगा। ऐसा सबको समझा दिया था और अभी भी समझा देती हूँ
जी।
अभी भी उन सबको समझा देती हूँ कि वो खराब रोग नहीं है, उनसे घबराना मत। एक बार मरने का है, कभी भी आ जाए, मगर अच्छी तरह मौत आ जाए तो अच्छा। सही बात
जी, बिल्कुल। आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हो। मैं आपको पूरी टीम के बिहाफ पे आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ कि आपने आज हमें लाइव ज्वाइन किया और आपको जो आपकी बातें थी आपने हमारे साथ साझा करी। और बिल्कुल ये लड़ाई कोई नॉर्मल या कोई मामूली लड़ाई नहीं थी, ये जज्बे की लड़ाई थी और ये एक हिम्मत की लड़ाई थी जो कि आपने बहुत बखूबी निभाई। और इसी के साथ आगे बढ़ते हुए, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, नाउ वी मूव टू द नेक्स्ट कैटेगरी ऑफ अवार्ड, व्हिच इज द अवेयरनेस वॉरियर्स। These were the people who did their bit in spreading as much awareness about the pandemic and dispelling the myths. They were not deterred by the challenges of the virus, but braved the circumstances to serve the community. Let us have the look at the nominations.
Presenting the nomination in the category for Awareness Warriors, Ashwathi Murali. All of 22 years of age, Ashwathi Murali from Panya Adivasi community of Wayanad, Kerala, used radio to dispel vaccine hesitancy. Ashwathi, a radio jockey and a tribal program producer with a community radio service, Radio Mattoli, took on the job of relaying credible and correct information around COVID in a language that her community understood. Ashwathi has worked relentlessly to bust myths around vaccination, created skits and jingles, and even organized call-in programs so the concerns of the community could be tackled head-on. Her effort has been lauded by none other than Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and she was named Sentinels of the Soil by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Starting from COVID's first wave, Ashwathi has continued to work as an awareness warrior, undeterred by the second or the recent Omicron wave. DSP Shilpa Sahu, deployed in Naxal-affected region of Dantewada, became a hero for the country thanks to this viral video. Standing under the scorching sun, 5 months pregnant, dedicated to ensuring lockdown protocols were being followed, DSP Sahu made it clear nothing would deter a hero from her duty. Not a photo op, but just another day at work for an officer, DSP Shilpa Sahu has continued to serve the people of Dantewada, always putting duty before self, showing immense bravery in the face of adversity, only stopping to deliver her baby boy in September last year. Master Amit, our youngest and perhaps the spunkiest COVID warrior, is 5-year-old Amit from Dharamshala, who became a social media sensation and a pop culture icon of sorts, with his video reprimanding those not wearing a mask. This anti-COVID fighter observed police and local authorities spreading the message to wear masks and spontaneously decided to follow their footsteps. This video, uploaded by Instagram handle Dharamshala Local, made Amit an overnight sensation and also bagged him a spot as the local police mascot. Mantasha Fatima, a 19-year-old college-going student from Lucknow. Mantasha Fatima used her smartphone and social media platform to raise awareness about COVID. Mantasha started making paintings on relevant and informative subjects like how to wear a mask and started uploading them. While other teenagers danced on trending reels, Mantasha was making videos about COVID-appropriate behavior. Mantasha's work and her relatable style was noticed by several NGOs, and she was invited to teach underprivileged children. Mantasha Fatima's awareness campaign has been recognized by none other than the United Nations Children's Fund. And the winner is Ashwathi Murali.
Well, congratulations, Ashwathi, and please come and take the award. Ashwathi is joined by Station Director Father Thomas, who is also joining us. How do you feel after winning this award, Ashwathi?
ഒരുപാട് സന്തോഷം തോന്നുന്നു. ഒത്തിരി നന്ദിയുണ്ട്. ഞാൻ എഴുതിയ കാര്യങ്ങള് ഫാദർ ബിജോ പറയാനായിരുന്നു.
Ashwathi has already expressed her gratefulness and the gladness that she received this award, and she has already written something in Malayalam language, and I have already translated it into English language. So reading it on behalf of Ashwathi. Ashwathi Murali from Wayanad. Wayanad is the only aspirational district in Kerala. Wayanad district is well known for the presence of tribal people. Yes, I belong to the tribal community called Panya. It's the most backward tribal community in Kerala. We have a lot of superstitious beliefs and practices. I could break some of them and prepare my community during this pandemic to accept the scientific support of the vaccination to get rid of the pandemic. I could support my tribe with my small effort, and I'm happy that it is being recognized by the people like you. I'm very glad And it's huge honor in my life, and it's an honor for my community too. This is accomplished just because I got opportunity to be the part of community radio Matili. The radio is doing tremendous work for the upliftment of the community in this region. It's my extended home, and I'm thanking all the staff members and the radio station, especially Father Bijo, their station director, always support me for all my works. And also, I take this opportunity to thank organizers of Health Hero Awards. It's really a surprise in my life to get an award like this. Thank you all. With all respect, I accept it for all my fellow beings. It will be a booster dose in my journey. Thank you all. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, and it was definitely a very well-deserved award, and we are indeed honored to have you today this evening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we move to the next award category. As very rightly mentioned by Mahatma Gandhi, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Our next award category recognizes the relentless services of our distress relief heroes for their unparalleled contributions. Let us have a look at the nominations.
Presenting the nomination in the category of distress relief, Mukesh Hisaria, giving dignity to the dead. That was Mukesh Hisaria's mission in the pandemic. When fear of infection forced people to leave the dead, or the lack of funds for some meant their inability to do last rites for their loved ones, this 49-year-old businessman from Patna decided that he would cremate strangers. So far, Mukesh Hisaria has arranged for the cremation of over 300 people who died of COVID. Famous in Patna as the Blood Man, Mukesh is no stranger to social work. He has donated blood to more than 1 lakh people. His organization Mata Vaishno Devi Seva Samiti has taken the cause of thalassemia to the government and change makers, and he continued to work for those with thalassemia all through the pandemic. Princess, breaking the glass ceiling and punching taboos. Princess became the first transgender frontline worker from Rourkela. Her work during the pandemic as a data operator at a COVID center was appreciated by Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik, but that was just the start. Princess also joined the vaccination department at a sub-divisional hospital. In a society riddled with prejudice against the trans community, Princess took on phobia, fear, and hate for the greater cause of helping humanity in distress. B. Durga Prasad. Meet Vishakhapatnam's Virus Man, B. Durga Prasad. He is hard to miss with that corona helmet and a loudspeaker on his bike, riding around the city, distributing masks to anyone he sees without it, re-emphasizing COVID protocols, social distancing, and hand hygiene. After losing his arm to COVID, Prasad made it his life's mission to ensure everyone in his community wears masks. An aluminium factory worker on early morning shift, Durga Prasad ensures he takes out 4 to 5 hours each day for his drive around the city to ensure safety for his fellow residents. Matilda Kullu, an ASHA worker for the past 15 years. Matilda Kullu worked relentlessly in her village of Gargad Bahal in Odisha's Sundargarh district all through the pandemic and ensured that every single adult overcame the vaccine hesitancy and got the jab. Without enough protection kits or masks, Matilda, like many ASHA workers, went door to door to convince villagers to get vaccinated. From educating young people about COVID symptoms to contact tracing and testing, Matilda continued her work and made it to Forbes list of India W Power 2021. And the winner is Mukesh Hisaria.
मुकेश हिसारिया जी, आपको बहुत बहुत बधाइयाँ, बहुत बहुत कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस। आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी, वो दौर बहुत दर्दनाक दौर था जो कोरोना पैंडेमिक का जो सेकेंड वेव थी। बहुत तादाद में लोगों की डेथ्स हो रही थी, डेड बॉडीज की बहुत बहुत बुरा हाल था। उस वक्त आपने ये ओनस लिया, आपने ये जिम्मेदारी ली कि आप क्रिमेशन जैसी जो क्रिया है, जो प्रोसेस है, उसको निभाएं, जो कि अक्सर लोग डरते हैं, घबराते हैं। इसके बारे में हमको बताइए, और ये अवार्ड एक्सेप्ट करते हुए आपको कैसा लग रहा है, इस पर भी हमसे बात करिए।
सबसे पहले जागरण समूह, onlymyhealth.com, यहाँ मौजूद जूरी के सभी सदस्य और जितने कंटेस्टेंट हैं, सबका दिल से आभार। और जो डरने की बात आप कर रही हैं स्मृति जी, उस समय हम लोग भी डर रहे थे, लेकिन 2020 में अप्रैल में पहली बार एक ऐसा वाकया हुआ था जब एक बच्चे ने फ़ोन किया था कि हमारे फादर का देहांत हो गया है, कोविड की वजह से देहांत हुआ है। उनके 5 भाई थे जिनको हमारे फादर ने स्टेबल किया है, आर्थिक रूप से मजबूत किया है, 2 किलोमीटर के एरिया में, लेकिन कोई भी आना नहीं चाहता है। तो उस समय अचानक से मुझे लगा कि नहीं, इस बच्चे की मदद करनी चाहिए। तो हम यहाँ पे बांसघाट है जहाँ पे अंतिम संस्कार की क्रिया होती है, वहाँ मैं गया और सबसे पहले दुकानदार से, वहाँ लेबर से, डोम राजा से सबसे बात किया। और आपको विश्वास होगा, जब अगर आप अच्छे काम के लिए चलते हैं तो कारवां बनता चला जाता है। वहाँ से एक ऐसी शुरुआत हुई कि उस बच्चे के अंतिम संस्कार में हम लोग सहभागी बने ईश्वर के माध्यम से, और उसके बाद ये सफ़र शुरू हुआ। तो इस व्यावसायिक युग में भी, जहाँ पर घाट में कोई किसी का नहीं होता था, एम्बुलेंस वाले, पंडित जी, हजाम, डोम राजा, लेबर, साथ में जो दुकानदार होते थे सामान वाले, सब लोगों ने एक आवाज़ पर मदद किया। पैसा हम उन्हें बाद में भेज दे रहे थे, लेकिन उन्होंने हर कदम पर साथ दिया। और कभी भी ऐसी स्थिति नहीं आई जब हमारे एक कॉल पर एम्बुलेंस वाले नहीं पहुंच रहे थे, हमारे एक कॉल पे घाट पे लोग नहीं पहुंच रहे थे। और मेरा तो ऐसा मानना है आपके माध्यम से कि ईश्वर अगर आपको धरती पर मानव के रूप में भेजा है तो हमें हर कदम पर मानवता निभानी चाहिए। ईश्वर अपने व्यक्ति अपने कर्म से बड़ा बनता है। आपको पता है कि हर व्यक्ति किसी न किसी समस्या से ग्रसित होता है, उस समस्या का समाधान किसी दूसरे व्यक्ति के पास होता है, दूसरे व्यक्ति की समस्या का समाधान तीसरे व्यक्ति के पास होता है। अगर सब लोग मिलकर एक दूसरे की समस्या का समाधान करें, ये दुनिया बहुत खूबसूरत हो जाएगी। मेघा जी, अनुराग अनुभव जी, शुभांगी जी, मोनिका अग्रवाल जी, स्मृति जी, वाणी जी, सब लोगों का दिल से आभार। और आज आपने इस सम्मान के जरिए हमारी जवाबदेही को और बड़ा किया है। हम आपके माध्यम से ये वादा करते हैं कि आगे मानव सेवा में जब जब हमारी जरूरत होगी, हर कदम पर हम आपके साथ होंगे।
आपके इसी जज्बे को सलाम करते हुए ये हीरोज अवार्ड ऑर्गेनाइज किए गए हैं, और आपके इसी जज्बे को थैंक यू करते हुए हम ये अवार्ड्स आप तक पहुंचा रहे हैं। और सलाम है आपके इस अनडेटरिंग, जो आपका जील है, जिसकी तहत आप समाज में इतना एक बड़ा, मुझे लगता है एक मार्गदर्शक बन करके उभर रहे हैं। आपको दिल से आभार, दिल से सलाम।
आज का ये सम्मान हम उन सभी एम्बुलेंस वाले, उन सभी पंडित जी, उन सभी हजाम, उन सभी लेबर, उन सभी डोम राजा, और साथ में अपनी संस्था महा वैष्णो देवी सेवा समिति परिवार को यह सम्मान समर्पित करता हूँ।
आपका बहुत बहुत आभार, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद।
Pregnant women, mothers and infants needed much care and protection against the COVID-19 infection. Their needs are not only complex but also extremely important. These awards felicitate the contributions towards mothers and infant care. Let us have a look at the nominations.
Presenting the nomination in the category for mothers and infant care, Ronita Sharma Rekhi. Ronita Sharma Rekhi's compassionate service is unlike another. Ronita volunteered to breastfeed newborns in the city who lost their mothers to coronavirus, or those who could not feed due to a pandemic-led health concern. She even reached out to other lactating mothers to join the cause by amplifying messages through social media. Pallavi, established by Mangal Shah, fondly known as Mangalatai, in 2001 in Maharashtra, Pallavi is home to more than 100 abandoned HIV-positive children. Already immunocompromised, the children were highly vulnerable to COVID. That is when Pallavi raised their bar of care. Since 2020, the main focus of the NGO has been to safeguard the health of these kids by providing them special meals and medications to keep a check on their immunity levels. Till date, no children in the Pallavi care home contracted COVID, as strict protocols were followed to ensure the same. Just open yourself. The founder of this Dehradun-based NGO, Jai Sharma, commenced with the initiative of adopting 100 children who lost both their parents to COVID-19. This was the next step after fostering more than 41 orphan children from Dehradun and surrounding villages in Uttarakhand Hills under Just Open Yourself Society, which took care of the children's food, medicine, education, lodging and finances. Priyali Soor. This Delhi-based journalist petitioned the Delhi High Court for vaccination of pregnant women against COVID-19, with hundreds of pregnant women getting infected with the virus, some not even getting access to hospitals and medications. No vaccines meant making them even more vulnerable. 8 months pregnant, Priyali started a campaign to get pregnant women in India their right to vaccines and continued to mobilize more voices in the direction till finally the government of India gave an approval for vaccination for pregnant women. A big win for Priyali and millions of expectant mothers in the country. And the winners are Pallavi and Priyali Soor.
Well, it's a tie. Congratulations to both the winners. Mangala Tayi and Dimple, मैं आपसे अनुरोध करूंगी कि पहले आप कुछ 2 शब्द कहें, then I'll invite Priyali. मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर दीजिए.
नमस्ते
जी.
हम लोगों को ये चैलेंज था कि पहले तो हमें सकारात्मकता रखनी थी, पॉजिटिविटी रखनी थी, क्योंकि हम लोग एक जगह पे अटके हुए थे पैंडेमिक की वजह से. एक दिन में लॉकडाउन जाहिर हो गया और हमारे पास 150 बच्चे थे, तो ये बहुत कठिन था, लेकिन हमारे बच्चों ने कर दिखाया. हम लोगों ने ये कैसे किया? योगा, अग्निहोत्रा, और जैसे हम लोगों ने एक ऐसे क्विल्स बनाने शुरू कर दिए. तो इस सभी वजह से हम लोगों ने हमारी सकारात्मक रखी और आज तक हमारे यहाँ एक भी पॉजिटिव नहीं है. थैंक यू.
Well, thank you so much. आपको बहुत बधाइयाँ. And now the new mom, Priyali Soor, I would request you to kindly join us live and say a few words.
Hi, Smriti. Thanks so much for this award. I just want to say that, this award is a recognition for all the women in India who actually have the right to make decisions for their own body, whether they are pregnant or not pregnant. My fight was not just for my own unborn baby Ben, who's now about 7 months old and crying from the other room right now, but it was also for the other 25 million pregnant women who were fighting to protect their babies through a really difficult and severe wave during the COVID second wave in India. So I think this is for all of them. This is for everybody who supported me through this, be it all the petitioners who signed the petition at change.org, all the women and men who signed the petitions, my family, my husband, and everybody else who supported me through this while I was heavily pregnant. And a special thank you to Jagran Media and to Megha and to Vineet who did this story, and to all of you who have recognized these healthcare heroes. Thanks so much for recognizing us.
Thank you so much, Priyali, and congratulations once again. And there from Pallavi, we had Mangala Tayi and Dimple. आपको भी बहुत बधाइयाँ, और जो काम आपने किया है वो बिल्कुल सराहनीय है. And now we move to our final award category. This is very interesting because it is recognizing and felicitating people who all of us have watched on television and idolized them. But this time, they are not only the heroes in real life, but in real life too. As when the entire country was reeling under the crisis of COVID-19, they put on the cape and did their bit as real heroes with their selfless services to the society. I would request my team to kindly play the AP.
The unprecedented COVID pandemic that left millions of Indians stranded on the streets, outside hospitals and pharmacies, even at cremation grounds, uncertainty loomed large. Humanity was distraught and afraid. But amidst the crisis rose some who proved that they were not just heroes in front of the arc lights. Away from the glitz and glamour of showbiz, these real heroes stepped up their game and became real-life superheroes, protecting lives, families and dreams of hundreds of citizens. As icons and saviors, our favorite TV and film celebrities chose to look beyond themselves, sometimes mobilizing support, sometimes busting COVID myths, and sometimes setting the right example for their millions of fans to follow. These heroes who blurred the lines between real and real for perhaps one of the most important causes in recent times.
Well, let me take this honor to welcome Mr. Bharat Gupta and Ms. Megha Mamgan back on screen to announce the winners of Real to Real Superheroes.
Thank you. It gives me a great pleasure to announce the first award in a Real to Real Superhero category. Someone who has charmed audiences through a performance on the screen and emerged as a true superhero in times of the pandemic. Turning a COVID warrior and helping those in need, please put your hands together for the very talented Ms. Bhumi Padnikar. Congratulations, Bhumi. Thank you for inspiring us.
Namaste, I'm Bhumi Pednekar, and I want to thank the entire team at Jagran for recognizing the efforts put in by our group COVID Warrior and I during the pandemic. Today, we are celebrating healthcare heroes, and I feel extremely fortunate to be a part of this group. This one is very, very special. Thank you so much.
Well, with that, I would request for the second award winner.
The next award in this category is for another real hero who took on the charge of helping those who needed oxygen, ventilators, medicine, and even going to the extent of providing free education to IS aspirants. Please give it up for Gurmeet Chaudhary. Congratulations, Gurmeet, and thank you for inspiring us.
Thank you, दैनिक जागरण. Thank you Onlymyhealth. आपने मुझे ये मौका दिया और मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ तहे दिल से कि काफी मेहनत लगती है, मैं बहुत जब आप किसी की मदद करते हो तो आप उस इमोशन के साथ जाना पड़ता है आपको और बहुत कुछ देखना पड़ता है अपनी आंखों से. बट मैं इतना जरूर कहूंगा कि आप जब एक्टर होते हो तो आप बहुत लोगों को इन्फ्लुएंस करते हो. अगर मैं कुछ काम करता हूँ समाज के लिए और लोगों के लिए तो मैं बहुत लोगों को इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा हूँ. लेकिन इस प्लेटफॉर्म में आपने मुझे सराहा तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे में वो जोश आ गया है, मेरे में वो एनर्जी आ गई है जहाँ पे मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं जो भी मदद कर पा रहा था, जो भी अपनी तरफ से मैं कर पा रहा था, उससे कहीं ज्यादा मैं और कर पाऊंगा लोगों के लिए. थैंक यू सो मच.
Congratulations, Gurmeet. I would request you to kindly stay back for a short discussion with Vani Malik from team Onlymyhealth.
सब आपके बारे में, आपके काम के बारे में और जानना चाहते हैं.
जी, थैंक यू.
तो गुरमीत, आपका ड्राइविंग फोर्स क्या था कि आपने कोविड के इस मुश्किल समय में आगे आके लोगों की हेल्प करने का सोचा?
मुझे ऐसे लगा जब मैं एक्टर बना तो मुझे लगा कि मुझे लोगों से थोड़ा बेहतर मिला. बेहतर इन अ सेंस मुझे लोग पहचानते हैं, लोग जानते हैं और अगर मैं कोई बात लोगों के सामने रखता हूँ, भले वो सोशल मीडिया के द्वारा हो या किसी के द्वारा हो, तो लोग सुनते हैं और मेरी बात सुनने और समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. तो मेरे दिमाग में, जहन में बहुत सालों से ऐसा था कि मैं इंसानियत के लिए क्या कर रहा हूँ. मैं एक एक्टर हूँ और मैं एक्टर इसीलिए हूँ, इतना प्यार इसलिए मिलता है जब मेरे फैंस मुझे इतना प्यार देते हैं. तो मैं क्या अपने समाज के लिए, मैं उनके लिए क्या कर सकता हूँ. और जब आप सभी जानते हैं कि पिछले 2 साल में जो कोविड हुआ और लास्ट ईयर का जो पैंडेमिक था वो बहुत ही खतरनाक था. उस वक्त अचानक मुझे ऐसा फील हुआ कि मुझे ये टाइम है, ये टाइम है जहाँ पे मैं लोगों की हेल्प कर सकता हूँ और मदद कर सकता हूँ. वहां से ये एक फोर्स मुझे मिला और मैंने कसम खाई कि मुझे ये जो 2 महीना है मुझे देना है और भले कितना साल क्यों ना लग जाए मुझे लगे रहना है. और वहां से शुरुआत हुई. और मैं आपको बता दूं, मैं अक्सर सुनता था कि जब आप लोगों की मदद करते हो ना तो आपको बहुत सुकून मिलता है. तो वो सुकून मैंने आज तक एहसास नहीं किया था। और जब फिल्में हिट होती हैं, जब शोज या रियलिटी शो जीत जाता था और लोग अप्रिशिएट करते, तो बहुत मजा आता था। मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि 2 दिन वाओ, लोग रास्ते में मिल रहे हैं, लोग अप्रिशिएट कर रहे हैं आपके काम को, आपकी एक्टिंग को। लेकिन जब मैं सुनता था कि लोग मदद जब करते हैं, तो उसकी जो एहसास है ना, वो बहुत अनरियल होता है। वो आप कितनी भी बड़ी खुशी आप पालो, लेकिन उससे बड़ी खुशी नहीं हो सकती है। और ये मैंने एहसास किया है। और जब मैंने लोगों की मदद करना मैंने शुरू किया इस पेंडेमिक में, ऐसे ऐसे लोगों को मैंने देखा जिनसे मैं बात कर रहा था, वो अगले पल वो हमारे साथ नहीं थे। लेकिन जब मैं किसी की मदद कर पाता था और जब वहां से मुझे थैंक्स या मुझे आशीर्वाद मिलता था, तो वो जो खुशी थी वो अनरियल है। मैं कितनी भी फिल्में कर लूं, कितना बड़ा हिट दे दूं, लेकिन इससे बड़ी खुशी मुझे कभी नहीं मिल सकती।
जैसे कि गुरमीत, आपने कोविड के टाइम पे इस मुश्किल समय में आगे आके लोगों की हेल्प करने का सोचा, क्या कोई चैलेंजेस थे जो आपने फेस किए?
वेल, चैलेंजेस तो काफी होते हैं, क्योंकि घर के अंदर बैठ के सब कुछ करना था। जब आप जब फिजिकली कहीं पहुंचते हो, बात करते हो, तो उसका अलग फर्क पड़ता है। आप ज्यादा काम कर पाते हो। एक ऐसा टाइम था जहाँ पे आप मदद करना चाहते हो, लेकिन आप घर के अंदर हो, लॉकडाउन है, और आप बाहर जाओगे तो बहुत रिस्क होगा। तो चैलेंजेस वहां से शुरुआत हुई थी। लेकिन सबसे अच्छी बात है कि मुझे बहुत सारे लोग मेरे साथ जुड़ते चले गए। बहुत सारे डॉक्टर्स, बहुत सारे फैंस, बहुत सारे लोग मेरे साथ जुड़ते चले गए। और मैं आपको ये भी बता दूं कि उस दौरान पे जब कोविड पीक पे था और बहुत लोगों को हो रहा था, उस वक्त मुझे याद है कि इतना जोश मेरे में आ गया था कि मैं उस वक्त मुझे याद है कि मैं यहाँ से गोरखपुर, यहाँ पे नागपुर, सॉरी, यहाँ से मैं नागपुर चला गया था अकेले। और मैं फ्लाइट में जब बैठा था, तो मैं सिर्फ अकेला मैं बैठा हुआ था, क्योंकि मेरे बहुत सारे टीम के लोग नागपुर में थे। डॉक्टर्स, डॉक्टर सैयद जिन्होंने हॉस्पिटल खोला, उनके साथ मैं उनके साथ था वहां पे, ताकि मैं मोटिवेट कर पाऊं लोगों को। तो ये सारे चैलेंजेस थे। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि जब चैलेंजेस नहीं होंगे तो आप कुछ कर नहीं पाओगे। आपके जब चैलेंजेस आते हैं आपके सामने, जब आप उसको पार करते हो, तो ही आप अच्छा काम कर पाते हो।
जी। तो जैसे कि गुरमीत, हम सब जानते हैं आपने कोविड के समय पे जो रिलीफ वर्क किया है वो सराहनीय है। बट कोविड अभी खत्म हुआ नहीं है, आपका काम कैसे जारी रहेगा?
वेल, हम सभी जानते हैं कि कोविड खत्म नहीं हुआ है, और हमें मास्क पहनना है, हमें हमें थोड़ा ख्याल रखना है। लेकिन ये भी है कि आपको काम भी करना है। ऐसा नहीं है कि आप घर पे बैठ गए डर के। और मैं आपको आपकी इस प्लेटफॉर्म के जरिए से ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि बहुत सारे लोग जो अभी भुगत रहे हैं, वो डर के मारे भी हो रहा है। लोग डर के मारे, बहुत लोग ऐसे हैं जो घर से अभी निकलते नहीं है, वो घर पे रह गए हैं और उनको लगता है कोविड हो जाएगा। वो सारी चीजें, प्रिकॉशन बहुत ज्यादा लेना चाहिए, लेकिन ऐसा भी नहीं कि आप घर से बाहर ना निकलो। ऐसा ना हो कि कोविड के चक्कर में आपको मेंटली आपको परेशानी हो। आपको लोगों से भी मिलना है, आपको बाहर निकलना है। डरने की कोई बात नहीं है, क्योंकि अक्सर मैंने इस वेव में मैंने देखा था, जहाँ पे बहुत लोग हमारे खोए थे, वो बहुत सारे लोग डर भी गए थे। डर के, जब आप बहुत डर जाते हो, तो आप उससे फाइट नहीं कर पाते हो, किसी भी बीमारी से। तो डरना नहीं है। जब भी ये कोविड होता है, तो आपको फाइट करते करते ही रहना है।
जी जी। थैंक यू सो मच गुरमीत कि आज आप हमारे साथ यहाँ जुड़े। आपने अपने बारे में, अपने काम के बारे में हमें डिटेल में बताया। वी विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट।
थैंक यू सो मच। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Wani and Gurmeet. And now I would welcome Ms. Megha Mamgan to announce the next award winner in this category.
Thank you. And for the next award in this category, I am proud to announce the superhero. He's from my state of Uttarakhand and did an enormous amount of work and effort into mobilizing support for far-flung areas that would perhaps never make it to mainstream news. Give it up for Raghav Jiwal.
थैंक यू दैनिक जागरण एंड थैंक यू ओनली माई हेल्थ कि आप लोगों ने ये अवार्ड मुझे दिया है, और सब लोग मिलके, सबने मिलके हिंदुस्तान को बचाया है जितना भी उनसे हो सका। तो ये अवार्ड मैं उन सबके लिए ले रहा हूँ। मैं सिर्फ फेमस हूँ इसलिए मेरा काफी नाम आया बाहर। बहुत लोग, ऑलमोस्ट सारे यंगस्टर्स हों, चाहे मिडिल एज, किसने भी, बहुत सारे लोग बाहर थे, और उनके लिए मैं अवार्ड ले रहा हूँ। और थैंक यू वेरी मच। और ऐसे ही जब भी कोई आपदा या कोई भी मुसीबत आए देश में, तो मैं चाहूंगा कि सब लोग ऐसे ही एक साथ हो जाएं और एक दूसरे का ख्याल रखें। and I just hope that everybody be kind to each other. That's it. Thank you.
Well, Raghav, we won't let you go without a small chit chat. I request you to kindly stay back for a short discussion with Mani.
तो राघव, मेरा पहला सवाल आपके लिए ये है, आपको कब और कैसे पता लगा कि आपको इस पैंडेमिक में सेकेंड वेव के टाइम पे आपको खुद लगना पड़ेगा?
मुझे कब और कैसे लगा कि क्योंकि मैं वहीं पर था सेकेंड वेव में, घर पे ही था, और पूरे न्यूज चैनल्स में जो हालात थी घर वहां पर, वो कहीं दिख नहीं रही थी बाहर। मतलब बेसिकली लोगों को पता नहीं लग रहा था कि क्या हो रहा है वहां देहरादून में और उत्तराखंड में। जिस तरह से वहां की स्थिति है अभी तक, कहीं जगह तो हॉस्पिटल्स नहीं है, कहीं गाँव में। आपको पता ही है क्या स्टेट है और क्या हालत है वहां की। तो वो कोई बाहर बात नहीं कर रहा था उसकी, तो उस बात का मुझे बड़ा ही एक क्या बोले गम था उस बात का। बाकी सब यंगस्टर्स बाहर थे, वॉलंटियर्स बाहर घूम रहे थे, तो मुझे अजीब लग रहा था। मुझे लग रहा था कि ये दूसरा मुझे भी कोविड हो गया था, तो मैंने बहुत महसूस किया है वो कोविड की कितनी मुश्किल होती है लोगों को। तो मुझे कि यार मुझे रुकना चाहिए और ये यंग हूँ और इस एनर्जी को काम पे लगाना चाहिए। और कुछ इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट से हमने बातें करी थी गुजरात में, कुछ सिलेंडर्स वहां से आ रहे थे किसी के लिए, किसी की बेटी के लिए मैंने वीडियो बनाई, उनसे बात करी। किसी के बूढ़ी नानी है, उनसे बात कर ली, उनको अच्छा लग गया। तो ऐसे कर करके मैंने फेवर्स दिए और लिए दिए। ऐसी दुनिया चलती है
जी,
कोलैबोरेशन से। तो वो कोलैबोरेशन से हुआ, काफी फंड्स आए, फिर हमने फंडिंग करी, हमने वीडियोस बनाई फंडिंग की, तो काफी फंड्स आए। यंग थे यार, मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा था उस वक्त, तो मेरे को लगा जाना चाहिए बाहर। और क्या, कुछ ऐसा नहीं है कि मैंने ही किया है, बहुत लोग थे यार, बहुत लोग बाहर थे।
तो राघव, एक बात बताइए, इस वायरस के खिलाफ इस जंग में, इस लड़ाई में आपको सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या लगा?
यार चैलेंजेस मेन ये लगे थे कि हम उत्तराखंड एक बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट ज्योग्राफिकल कंडीशन वाला स्टेट है। आपको पता है उत्तराखंड में आए दिन कभी बाढ़ आती है, कभी बादल फट जाता है, कभी रोड भूस्खलन हो जाता है।
जी।
तो हमें ये था कि हम लोग चीजें कैसे पहुंचाएंगे। तो हमने क्या किया, हमने एडीसी टू तो गवर्नर है, और गवर्नर ने हमारी बहुत मदद करी, और उनका नाम है रचिता जियाल। हम सारी चीजें लाते थे एंड शी यूज्ड टू जस्ट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट का करना है, कौन से क्षेत्र में करना है, पौड़ी कौन सा जाएगा, कुमाऊं कब जाएगा, जौनसार कौन सी चीजें जाएंगी, कहाँ पर जरूरत है असली, वो उनके पास सारी चीजें आती थी, क्योंकि उनके पास क्लियर चीजें आती थी बेसिकली। और बहुत ही मन लगा के उन्होंने पर्सनली हमारी हेल्प करी। ऐसे करते करते लोग जुड़ते रहे और कारवां बनता गया। वो है नहीं एक शेर, हम चले और लोग जुड़ते रहे, तो वैसे ही हुआ
जी।
और उन्होंने बहुत हेल्प करी है एडीसी टू द गवर्नर, और जो रचिता मैम है और रचिता है और मेजर मुदित, दोनों ने।
Awards and recognition of work for heroes like you and the other COVID heroes कितना important है ऐसी encouragement और ऐसी awareness का?
बहुत important है यार, स्पेशली यंगस्टर्स के लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। एक बच्चा जो होता है, अगर वो मेहनत कर रहा है किसी चीज में और पापा मम्मी आके बोलते वेरी गुड बेटा,
जी,
अगली बार और अच्छा करना, इस बार तुमने बहुत बढ़िया किया, तो इससे क्या होता है कि और उससे एक और क्या बोलते हैं एनर्जी आती है कि हाँ हम ये चीज सही कर रहे हैं, ये कुछ सही है जो हम कर रहे हैं। क्योंकि हमारे बड़े बुजुर्ग या हमारी सरकार या हमारे आसपास के लोग, जर्नलिस्ट हमें देख रहे हैं, हमें समझ रहे हैं। बट एक उसमें से जो मैं कुछ पॉजिटिव पॉइंट से निकालूंगा कि उस वक्त सब लोग बाहर थे और सब लोग एक साथ होकर सबने एक दूसरों की मदद की है। जब लोग हॉस्पिटल मुसीबत में लोगों को हॉस्पिटल पहुंचा रहे थे, कोई नाम नहीं पूछ रहा था, वो सिर्फ ये देख रहे थे उसको जरूरत है। तो ये एक हिंदुस्तान मुझे दिखा जो बहुत ये जो अंदर रूटेड एक जो हिंदुस्तान जो है ये है, वो मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगता है। वो अभी वो देख के जब क्योंकि मैं ऑन ग्राउंड था, मैंने ऑन ग्राउंड सिचुएशन देखी है, और लोग कमाल छोटे छोटे यार 16 17 साल के लड़के लड़कियां दोनों, मतलब सब लोग बाहर थे और अपनी जान की परवाह करे बिना एक दूसरे की मदद कर रहे थे। तो वो देख के मुझे बहुत खुशी हुई कि यार हम बोलते ना दुनिया कलयुग आ गया है, दुनिया बेकार हो गई है, मेरे को उस पैंडेमिक में ऐसा लगा ऐसा नहीं है यार। बहुत बहुत बेहतरीन और बहुत काइंड लोग हैं इस दुनिया में।
So thank you so much, Raghav, for joining us today and being here with us today. आपकी जो किस्से हैं, आपकी जो कहानियां हैं, जो आपने कोविड पैंडेमिक के टाइम पे काम किया, वो बहुत ही सराहनीय है. लोगों ने आपसे बहुत प्रेरणा ली है. I hope and I wish the best of luck to you. And हम चाहते हैं कि आप ये जो पॉजिटिव वर्क कर रहे हैं कोविड के लिए, कोविड के अवेयरनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए आप लगे रहे, आपको बहुत सारे फंड्स मिलते रहे, एंड विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vani and Raghav. And now, Miss Megha Mamgan, I would request you to give us the name of the 4th award winner in the category.
And the final award in this category is a big superstar who's done bigger work to impact communities. Please put your hands together for our superhero, Sunil Shetty.
Thank you. An honor, absolute honor. And I mean, I don't think I'm a superhero, but yes, a lot of people have done good work, and my intentions are good. And, you know, since I've been associated with giving back for a long, long time, it's an absolute honor that one is being appreciated for what he does. And hope it'll definitely encourage me, but it also, I hope it encourages a lot of people to come forward and help each other. It was not that I was doing everything. You know, there's this misconception and this thing that एक celebrity आगे आ गया तो अरे क्या काम कर रहा है. I think बहुत सारे लोग बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं और मेरे साथ काफी लोग जुड़े हुए थे. The people, the organization behind supplying of the oxygen, those boys who were carrying it from one place to another, people who were giving information about people that were in trouble in various places. You know, a lot of people help, and it's a combined effort always. But like I said, naam actor ka hai. So I think, you know, the award that I got, I need to distribute it to a lot of people around me and thank them for all that they've done. So thank you, Jagran. Thank you once again for this wonderful award.
Well, congratulations, Sunil, and congratulations to all the winners in this category and all those who were nominated. And ladies and gentlemen, with this, we have come to the end of the second edition of the Healthcare Heroes Award 2022 by Onlymyhealth.com. It was indeed our pleasure to host you all for the occasion. We are indeed indebted to you for making it a success. I, on behalf of Jagran New Media, extend our heartiest gratitude to the eminent guests for their august presence. Special mention to our chief guest, our eminent jury members, Mr. Bharat Gupta and Ms. Megha Mamgan, for your keynote address, and everyone in the audience who attended this event. We are grateful to you and our presenting sponsor, Cofsils, for making this occasion so very special for us. This platform has bridged the distances caused by the coronavirus situation and brought us together on board and struck a natural connect through this virtual medium. With the hope that soon we will overcome the present situation and come back to the normal lifestyle, I bid you all a very good night. Take care. Thank you.
Zumba.